Hi everyone, welcome back to our short sermon series, and we're continuing our series on focusing on the last things. And so today's episode we're going to focus on hell. So again, really cheery subject, right? So let's just dive right into it. So this will be the Catechism of the Catholic Church, paragraphs 1033 through 1037. We'll just highlight a few things here. So what is hell? Well, in paragraph 1033. The Catechism says, to die in mortal sin without repenting and accepting God's merciful love means remaining separated from Him forever by our own free choice. This state of definitive self-exclusion from communion with God and the blessed is called hell. And so it's really, really important is that the Church teaches that hell is a state of self-exclusion, right? So that God doesn't desire anyone to go to hell. He wants us all to go to heaven, but that those who go to hell choose it for themselves. And why is that? Well, we might also think like, okay, well, God is love. If we have a loving God, why is there a place of eternal torment called hell? And really that gets back to, again, who God is. Because He's love, true love, true love never forces itself. It's always free. It's always faithful. It always has to be accepted that way. And so for those who do not want that, do not want to love God, do not want union with Him, want to choose themselves, then the only place for them is hell. So the Catechism goes on, and it says that the chief punishment of hell is eternal separation from God, in whom alone man can possess the life and happiness for which he was created and for which he longs. So that's really the main torment in hell, that oftentimes we might have those images of demons with pitchforks and fire and torture instruments and all of that. And the reality is it's a lot worse than all of that, because the chief pain that the Church is getting at here is that, well, when we die, we realize that we are made for union with God. There is nothing else that will satisfy us, and we realize that in its full power. And so for those in hell, the torment is they will be forever eternally frustrated. They will never be able to have that union for which they are made. And so again, that's their own free choice. It's not something God desires. And the Catechism of the Catholic Church, paragraph 1037, says this: God predestines no one to go to hell. For this, a willful turning away from God, a mortal sin, is necessary, and persistence in it until the end. Right? And so that's what is necessary to go to hell. Not that I'm giving you advice for that, right? We obviously don't want that. But this is another area where we can actually take some great hope in and never despair of anyone's eternal salvation, even those who seem to be the most unrepentant and evil sinners. Because, again, the Church says that it is necessary to commit a mortal sin and persist in it until the end of one's life. Right? And so we never know the state of someone's soul at the very end of their life. And so to be offering prayers for all of the dying, those who will die today, because we never know how our prayers might affect someone at their last moment who has, up until that point, not cared about God, maybe not even wanted God in their life, but if they turn to God at the last moment, there can be that just small opening of grace to enter in where they can accept the salvation that God's offering to them, and you can make an eternal difference in the soul of someone. And maybe if that person, again, if they're a serious sinner, maybe they have to spend a lot of time in purgatory, but it'll make an eternal difference. And so to always be praying for sinners and for those who will die today, especially those who don't know the Lord, they would return at the very last moment. And I'd like to just end with a quote from C.S. Lewis. This is from his book, The Problem of Pain, where he responds to the objections that so many people often have to hell about, why would a good and loving God allow this? And so he writes this. Let me just pull it up here real quick. Okay. So he says, I willingly believe that the damned are, in one sense, successful, rebels to the end, that the doors of hell are locked on the inside. They enjoy forever the horrible freedom they have demanded, and are therefore self-enslaved, just as the blessed, forever submitting to obedience, become through all eternity more and more free. In the long run, the answer to all those who object to the doctrine of hell is itself a question. What are you asking God to do? To wipe out their past sins and at all costs to give them a fresh start, smoothing every difficulty and offering every miraculous help. But He has done so on Calvary. To forgive them, they will not be forgiven. To leave them alone, alas, I am afraid that is what He does. Right? So that's a great tragedy, again, of hell, is that it's that state of self-exclusion. So those who choose it by their own free choice, and if they don't want forgiveness, they don't want that union with God for which they are made, and so God leaves them alone, right? And so it's obviously not what we want, right? And that's why all of our life is meant to be about growing in deeper love with God and neighbor. So I hope that's helpful, and our next episode will be focusing on heaven, which will be a little bit more of a cheery subject. So God bless you.